This is Damon Stevens. The Wealth Builders. Today is January 23rd, 2022, and this is our Monday prep. And you do not want to miss this video because there is a lot going on in the market and a lot can happen this week. This is a pivotal week. So let's get into it and take a look at what is going on. So let's just talk about last week's close before we get into it. So Dow Jones closed down 1.3%, NASDAQ down 2.72%, and S&P 500 down 1.89%. It was a bloodbath out there for the stocks and also for crypto as well. So it's a real tough market out there. If you're shorting the market, you're having a heyday. You're loving it. But if you're not, if you're holding long, you have a long way back up. So just be patient. But for those who are trying to look for opportunities, this week is going to be pivotal. The reason it's pivotal is we have a lot major earnings coming out from big companies that could swing the market one way or the other. So that's going to create a lot of volatility. Also, we're at critical support levels. We've broken them even after hours on Friday. So that could, create some huge downside. I mean, we could have a landslide here if we're not careful. So really, really got to pay attention to what's going on in the marketplace and know, which way we're going to head here from this point, because we're at critical support levels. We have earnings. If earnings are bad, it could be really ugly. If earnings are great, then hopefully that can help to pump the market back up. And, we are due for relief rally. I mean, 5 days down on the market, typically you're going to have some pop back up or some type of retracement at some level. So we could possibly see a rally around these earnings, and maybe that would be the excuse for the rally to come in if we have good earnings. But also if the earnings are bad, there could be some additional downside, which, I would expect there would be from where we're at now, but, anything can happen. If we're down 10% and we go down another 10%, then, we're definitely in a big, huge correction. So hopefully we're just hoping this is a dip and we're at the point where it's considered a dip. Anything below this could possibly be considered a huge sell-off. So let's just get into charts and take a look at what's going on here so you can prepare out your week. And again, big earnings week. This is the month calendar here. But you can see here, I've kind of highlighted, the big ones that I'm looking at. So IBM on Monday, Microsoft on Tuesday. We have Tesla, and I'm also watching Intel and Boeing as well, but Tesla mainly on Wednesday. And Thursday, we have Apple, and I'll be watching McDonald's as well, but Apple's my primary, and also Visa and MasterCard. And then Friday, we have, Gas and Caterpillar. So huge week, major players reporting their earnings. This could really swing the market back and forth. So just be ready for a really volatile market and be patient. If you're concerned, it stresses you out to trade quickly on scalps and daily trades, then maybe just stay on the sideline with your cash and wait for the right opportunity for, either the turnaround once we kind of hit the bottom here, and we have a good sign that we're headed north, or if you're short in the market, just continue to look for opportunities to do that once we break all the critical levels of support. So let's get into some charts. So IBM. So here's IBM's chart. You see here that, it's done pretty well. It hasn't sold off like the rest of them. It's been holding up here pretty well because, otherwise we'd be down here at 114. So looking at really to see if we bounce off here, we're at the 50. So IBM, when they report, the question will be to me, if they break this 128 level, I'm going to be looking at a short here, possibly clear down to this 114 level. If they actually have really good earnings and good response, the market responds well to it, then I'm looking at this high side of 142.20. So that would be the absolute high side. That would be breaking out above this trend line, which is going to be resistance here around 137 to get up there. So there could be some resistance, but definitely looking for a rally on good earnings. So we're hoping to hear some good things from IBM. Microsoft, right down here, it's sitting on the 200 right now. This should be a point for it to bounce. Looking at prior trend lines, it's pretty much been the 50 move, the 100 here. So this is 100 moving average. You see it bounced several times off that 100. This is the first time in a long time that we broke that 100 level and came down to 200. So we should be getting a relief rally, hopefully to pull us right back up to at least the 50, which is around 314, and hopefully get rallied up here back into our channel, which we are out of the trend lines here. You can see. So does Microsoft have good numbers? Hopefully they do have good numbers, and that can pull us back up here around 315 at resistance here and back into our our channel here. We can, possibly rally back, towards this 345 and back towards new highs. For some reason, it's really bad, or we don't have a good response to the earnings. We break below this, 294, 292 level, then we have a long way that we could drop possibly. So I don't even have a projection on where we're probably going to go. Maybe around this area, maybe around 259, 256, 260 level, maybe would be maybe the next level we come down. Because that'd be your last breakout off of this point here. So maybe that area. And I'll just kind of put a mark in here. This is the last time we hit that. So possibly in this area a little bit, but it's hard to say. Maybe it's rounded to 260. So we'll just put it down there. But just be careful. These are our levels on Microsoft. I know this video is going to be long, but hopefully this, you can be patient. Hopefully this will be helpful for you. It's Tesla, we've been coming back down here. We broke the 50, so we could be coming down to this 200. Basically, 887 is where we hit the last pivot down here. So maybe that's the level we could find some support before the 200. But Tesla could come down here, possibly a little bit further, and then bounce hopefully. And they have great earnings. I think they're going to have good earnings. Who knows, but they could have good earnings. If they do, I can see them rallying really quick, back up at least towards our top trend lines. So watching for a bounce off of Tesla, but I think they're going to possibly come down here lower before they do that. So just something to be aware of. Apple's pulled back here from the highs, and it's just above the 50, hoping for a bounce here off this 50. Hopefully you can see that 50 was the support before, down, or the 100 actually, I'm sorry, the blue's 100. So you can see it's bounced off of here before, down here. Now we're just right above it. So looking for a bounce off of Apple and a support here. Hopefully the earnings are positive for Apple, although I know there's been some concerns around suppliers and the sell of their phones. So I mean, if it's bad enough, it might come down here. This 149 might come down to this 200 with the rest of the stocks as far as where they've been coming down to. But we'll see. But we could get a potentially temporary pop before we come down if their earnings are bad. So just beware of that. McDonald's, I do like that. It's held to 100. It seems like it's going to bounce off of there, and we're back down there again. So looking for a relief bounce, either 250, 251 level, a bounce here off of McDonald's. If McDonald's has really good earnings, I can see them popping back up here. And you can see that it kind of just makes these little bounces here. And so I'm looking, since this has come down here, down to the 100, hoping this is going to bounce back up here. So high 271 possibly could come up and tag our top of our trend line. We haven't been there for a while, but probably not likely, but at least a bounce up here. So looking for a bounce off of McDonald's here. Hopefully their earnings will be good. And Caterpillar hit some good highs here. It's kind of been trending back down. Then we pop back out of our trend lines here, and you can see that came back, and we may come back and visit these. We could hit 210 here, could come down to this 200 level as well if earnings are bad on Caterpillar. But should find some type of support from this breakout. And so looking for a possible bounce back up here from Caterpillar, maybe around this 210 level, maybe 207. So we'll just see what happens. But looking for, earnings direction for Caterpillar. Baidu, it started rallying back up here. Obviously, you see it's hitting resistance 2 days in a row under this 200. So definitely it's going to be a challenge for it to get above that. Also, we've been in a downward sloping trend line, and so it could be very well, it could pull back into this area, especially since it's hitting resistance. So look for a possible pullback in Baidu a little bit to try to find support and hopefully rally back out and break above that 200. Peloton looked like, it had it had a little bit of a drop here off of bad news. And then, they tried to pump it back up and say it's not that bad. So we saw a little bit of relief rally coming into Peloton. I'm just kind of keeping an eye on this one. I mean, it may not be a huge, but we got a trend line started up here now around this 26 area, now 28. So looking for a relief rally and hopefully break through this resistance around 28 and come back up here and tag our upper trend line. So looking for Peloton to possibly give us a little bit more of that relief. SoFi came up here, it's hit our trend line, upper trend line 3 times. When you see it pulls back and then it pumps back up, hit the trend line, kind of flattened out into this channel, tagged it again, pulled back. Now I don't like that it went back below 1455, so that's a little bit of a weakness there. And it's below all the moving averages. So seeing if we can rally back up here and pop above here. We're gonna have resistance around this 1450 range, but if it drops below 1365, probably be a shorting opportunity, at least temporarily. So just looking for direction on SoFi, see if there's additional trades we can get out of there. LRCX pulled back, way back. It's down to 200. It actually broke below it. I'm hoping to get a relief rally off this. Hopefully it'll bounce back up. If not, it could come clear down to our upper trend line around 573. So just looking for a pop here off of for LCRX. NVIDIA, it's down almost to the 200 as well. Looking for a relief rally pop from here. We've been downtrending for a while, so it's about time to have one. Also, you can see here we had good support down here and a breakout. So hoping that we can get that. And it looks like we also have a little bit of a gap fill right here. I didn't have a mark on the chart, so I'll mark it now. It looks like we almost filled it. And it's right around the 200. So hopefully we can complete the filling of this gap and then tag that 200 and hopefully find a relief rally bounce off that 200. So looking for NVIDIA for a bounce. NVAX, looking for NVAX for a bounce. I thought it was going to hit the top of our trend line and find support and did not. So that is a lot of weakness below all the movement averages. So it's very weak. But, we're down to an area where we should, find support. Because you can see here we had support back here in September 2020. We had it again in November, and we're right at that level now. So looking for a relief bounce for NVAX as well. Exxon, we talked about this one, so we're elevated above off of our trend line, and we should see some type of pullback. We started seeing a little bit of that, so this is possibly a ceiling. We could possibly pull back down here around the 67, 60 level and hopefully bounce up and find maybe a new channel that would create above the prior channel. So looking for Exxon possibly to pull back just a little bit more this week. RK, we're watching this. I like the stocks that are in it. I think there's a good long-term play here, but we may come down here since we broke the 200 down to this 57 level and hopefully find support at 57 at the lowest. If we do, it should be a real good bargain on this one. I mean, we were 158, so we're, over halfway, over 50% has been taken out at ARK. So we will take a look, watch that one, but I'm definitely watching, especially if it gets down to this 60, 50, 60, the 60 range or 57 range, then I'll be looking for a relief pop from here as well. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, definitely subscribe, definitely provide comments, and hopefully this continues to provide you with good information. So as far as the 10-year yield, it's coming back down here, so that's good. Hopefully it continues to pop down here below this $1.70 is where we really want it. So looking for that to continue, hopefully coming down. US oil, so crude, you can see here, we kind of peaked out and we're pulling back down here a little bit. So that'll take a little bit out of Exxon and Conoco and some of the others, but we do have earnings into this week. So remember that. So this could be a rally before that and it could pull back. Or oil could be really good and maybe we get a bounce back up here and tag our upper trend line again. So we'll be watching that towards the end of this week. The dollar's kind of consolidating flat here. Kind of got a little bit of bullish flag here, but we'll see if we can break through resistance to this 95.86 area. VIX is elevated, definitely elevated. You can see this. Said anything over 25 is going to keep the market down. So if this breaks this current resistance line around 29, the market's going to continue to fall, and it could fall bad. So need to see this VIX hopefully pull back, hopefully in pre-market. If not pre-market, after the market opens, we can get the VIX to come down here so we can get a relief rally going. But if this continues to stay elevated, that relief rally is not going to happen, and we could be going to a bigger correction. So watching the VIX definitely in pre-market to see what's happening, and also throughout the market. So like I said, this is up on my desktop every day, all day long, because it's really critical to help you understand the overall feeling of the market and what direction it's going. So here's a SPY. SPY is just above the 200 and a gap. So looking for a relief rally to pop here. I don't like, you see here, we had a lot of institutions involved in selling off. So it depends if the institutions really sold off everything they wanted to. If they did, hopefully that gives us that relief bounce. But you can see that there's a lot of volume that came in towards the end of the week, especially on Friday. Triple Qs also down here where it was at support 350 area, looking for a bounce off of here. Since we're below all the moving averages, we really should need a bounce at this point. And this is where we were back in October of 21. Semiconductors at the 200 as well, and towards the bottom of our trend line. So looking, this should be an area of good support for these stocks. So they really should bounce off of here. Same with Dow Jones. Dow Jones is down here at the bottom of our trend line. And you see we had support here at 340 before. So looking for a bounce there and good support. IWM's right at below the 100 moving average. So looking for a bounce to get that back above the 100. So if it breaks below this 195.96, looking for more downside. If it breaks above 200, looking for a relief rally. Financials sitting right on our lower trend line. You can see it was support before, looking for a bounce off of that resistance, that trend line. Bitcoin, broke that. It's been down, continues to go down, having really bad week last week. Looking for some support. If it doesn't get and hold above this 35, 36,000, and we break the 34, we could be coming down to this, 32,000, 31,000 level. Leo's holding on, one of our cryptos holding on here. So definitely seeing weakness, but it bounced off the 100. Looking for a consolidation and hopefully a bounce up here if we can get some relief going on Bitcoin as well. OMI, you can see it's trying to bounce as well after a pullback. Luna, it's downward sloping still, but trying to pull back above that. We got back above the 100. So all these cryptos they're trying, but they're gonna need the help of Bitcoin to help pull these cryptos back up here. So SCRT, same thing, trying to find support here. Actually broke below the 100, which means we could be coming back down to 200 or support line around 450. Hopefully we can bounce off here and rally back up here. So definitely got big pullbacks. So market's really, struggling to find a foothold, but once it does, I think we're going to have some huge rallies here to look forward to. Hopefully they come sooner than later, but it could be short term too. If we do get a bounce, it could be short term as well. So just be careful out there and look for a lot of volatility, expect it, and stay safe trading out there. And hopefully this video helps you to prep for the week. It's going to be a big week, a lot of volatility. So be really careful, and we will touch base Monday night, see how our trades went and what to look for the next day, and get you all prepped. Everybody have a great night.